this is a map of the ruling. So everything in blue is the Empire of Alexander the Great. And then whatever has stripes, which is very, very little, is dependent on Alexander. So basically, everybody was under Alexander the Great. It looks like if you weren't under the Empire of Alexander the Great, you may have been dependent. So whatever's in the baby blue is the Empire of Alexander the Great. The rise of Hellenism. The three great periods of Greek language and culture were the Athenian, the Alexandrian, and the Roman. At the time of Christianity's emergence and during its first generations, the language of intellectuals was Greek. Paul spoke in Greek, making a famous appearance at the Areopagus. This is found in Acts 17:19-34. After Solon, the center of law in Athens, and Paul's letter to the churches were written in Hellenistic Greek. In spite of overt opposition to Greek culture, and especially to the cults of the gods, Jewish thought was infiltrated by Greek philosophy during the intertestamentary period. Many of the modes of accommodation and apologetics developed in this time were later taken over by the intellectual leaders of the early period of church history, especially the Logos Fathers. For the first 3 centuries of the empirical period, Greek language and learning were dominant, and by the time Christianity became the state religion, it was thoroughly Hellenized. Tertullian was the first church father to use Latin. Novatian was the first church leader at Rome to use Latin instead of Greek. Alexander the Great's dream of a world empire inspired political rulers as late as Charlemagne, but the chief influence upon early Christianity came through philosophers whose thought world was adopted, Christianized, and made part of the church's intellectual armory. Chief among these men were Plato and Aristotle, the Stoics, especially Seneca and Marcus Aurelius. Chief among these men were Plato and Aristotle, the Stoics, especially Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, especially Epicurus and Lycurgus, the Neoplatonist. Plato and Aristotle